What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Innovators Den. I am formerly known as #. Please follow us on YouTube at the Innovators Den. I'm here with
Steve-O Business. How you guys doing? And we have the special guest, Fausto Montano.
Hello again, my guys.
Yeah, it's a very special guest. His family.
Definitely a pioneer in the industry.
Real. Very pioneer as far as when it comes to creative and entrepreneurship and going out there and hustling to follow your dreams. This guy has been one of the leaders doing that since I was young. I remember him doing that. So welcome, Fausto.
Appreciate that, man. That's a great introduction. I appreciate that. It's dope.
I'd rather give you your flowers now.
Appreciate
you
that.
You always led by example. We're not perfect, but you always led to want to create a space for yourself to live out your mind.
Nah, I appreciate that. It's true. Thank you.
Yeah. And the people might not know, but can you elaborate a little bit about yourself, your story, where you're from?
Fausto Montano, born and raised in the Bronx. Dad died when I was young, raised by my mother, raised by the streets, kind of say, you know what I'm saying? Mother was on welfare. And nothing. I mean, I was always a hustler, always ambitious, always wanted to do better. I used to tell my moms when I was young, we're going to be rich, we're going to be rich. I think that's a lot of people's story, right? A lot of kids, you should know.
Yeah, it's similar because we have a similar upbringing, though.
Yeah, I guess that similar inbringing Bronx vibe of trying to see the hustler that's older than you getting it and seeing it. I think, I used to always
grew up in a time where hip hop was a culture, and we saw these rappers becoming into rappers, entrepreneurs while we was growing up. That's those are the entrepreneurs.
That's true. That's true.
So we grew up listening to this music, and we was we want to make our own companies. We want to start a business. We want to create content.
Me and hip hop got the same birthday.
What do you mean?
Yeah, August 11th is hip hop's birthday, right?
Yeah.
I'm August, so we 10 years apart. Yeah, so you're right. We grew up. Hip hop was 10 years old. So as they was growing and finding themselves, we're watching it develop in real time. Right. So yeah,
we from we Latinos, so we grew up Latinos, but this was in front of us. This was in the radio. This was on BET.
Yeah,
that was what we had.
I still remember getting my first CD. I think it was No Way Out by P. Diddy, and it had the explicit sticker on it. I was like, my mom was like, "What does this mean?" I'm like, "Oh, it has no bad words."
The opposite.
Yeah,
no bad words.
Yeah, I was like, "Buy for me, please." I got you.
That's crazy.
Illmatic, that was my first album I actually bought, but
classic.
But Fausto, I remember him even starting with his first glass case. He was young and he wanted to start his own business, and I saw him do that and put the teams together and want to build a team, and he always was thinking about his team and building his company. And there's always you always go through your trials and tribulations, but I think he learned the most through that experience, and and that's why he kept evolving.
When you're young, you don't really believe this or understand it, but failure really makes you learn and get better. But you tell that to a young kid and it's I failed, or even somebody that's just going through it. When they fail, they get discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
But if you learn, I didn't have a mentor, and I always tell this to my kids, I wish I had a mentor, a real mentor, right? Because the way I did it was kind of just, Google didn't exist and stuff like that. So I was just kind of like you said, just trying to put people together. And I didn't know how to draw. So I went and got somebody that knew how to draw. So just little things, right? Whatever I didn't know, I try to grab people to create this team to help me get where I'm going and eventually learn from them, learn with them in a lot of cases. But I wish I had a mentor. So now I try to mentor my kids as we growing up. It's very important for me that, and when I say kids, I'm talking about my 2 kids. And then I have my nieces and nephews and my godkids, and they're all my kids. I treat them exactly like if they was mine. And that's why people usually think I have more than 2 real kids. Cause cause I'm always posting on my son, my daughter. They call me dad. No matter how old or young they are, we connect. So,
but even with those challenges, I mean, when you became a father, you were still in the middle of trying to build your dream. You didn't give up. That's, most people be I need to stop and focus, do something that I don't want to do.
Get the money now.
But he pushed through that.
I mean,
people who know, they saw him push through it, alone and with support, but he did it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I remember when I found out that my BM was pregnant. She was 18. I was 19. I was, terrified. Literally terrified. what am I gonna do? Like, cause that whole time, I mean, I feel like I grew up early. My dad died when I was 8. So like by 13, 12, I was already in the streets. Like my mom wasn't really telling me what to do anymore. And I remember even like 1st, 2nd grade, I was going to school by myself.
Oh, damn.
Like my mother wasn't taking me to school. Like we was kind of just walking to school by ourselves. I mean, it was right around the block. But as a 8-year-old going to school by yourself, you grab the dollar from the thing in the morning and just kind of go, whatever. Right. And so I was in the streets early, just wilding, like with the older kids. I was the youngest kid in the crew. But I learned from them too. So I'm watching them. They getting fly. They got the Vances and this, and I'm catching up. I'm like, I gotta get it. Yeah, the Vances, the Apex. Yeah. I had to keep up. So, we was in the streets early. But yeah, at 19, got pregnant, she got pregnant and I was terrified. It was terrifying. But
yeah, I think that ignited him to like, I got to do this now.
Oh yeah, that definitely motivated me. But to touch on what you said about the glass case, it wasn't my first business because I already had sold drugs and stuff. But I was smart enough to take the concept of, I remember the first time I sold drugs, it was like 14 years old, right? And the way it happened was like math. It was like one of the older kids was selling weed and they would sell the little bag for $5, right? Mm-hmm. And I just stopped him and I was like, how much why you sell a $5 bag? Like, what are you paying for that? He was like, oh, I don't pay for it. Some guy gives it to me. I keep $1.25 out of it. And, and that's how the business was, right? Like the connect or the older guy bought all the work, weed or whatever, bagged it up, give it to him, right? And he would sell it one by one for $5 and then he would keep $1.25. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I went and I was like, if I give him $1.50 or $1.75, I can make him sell for me. And I'm a 14-year-old figured, yeah. And I went, saved up money, bought, I don't remember, half an ounce, a pound, half a pound, bagged it up. I was like, yo, if you sell this too, I'm gonna give you $1.50, $1.75. And he was older. He was like, all right. I don't know if he knew that it was me or in the middle, but now I'm a 14-year-old having an older kid sell weed for me. And that's how like math, I was born with that intuition of like figuring it out. We met in Southern Boulevard, right? You said?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I used to go where fashion, where we was from, is Southern Boulevard in the Bronx. I used to go hang out over there, and then Fausto was already
Southern Boulevard in the Bronx. Not to interrupt, it's like
a Fordham.
The Fordham
of the South Bronx.
Yeah, of the South Bronx, exactly. That and 3rd Avenue. You have Southern Boulevard, you have Fordham, and then you have 3rd Avenue, 49.
Right.
Yeah, that's like where all the stores.
That was where I used to
That's
stop.
where all the stores are at. Like that's where the strips of stores are at. So basically, I used to go over there. I used to run into him. So he was already a sales rep in the coolest store with the best business owner at the time.
Abu, shout out, Abu. But so that's crazy that you say that. So Abu, I think it was called Uptown Fashion.
I forgot.
Something like that. But what happened was him and his brothers, it was African fly. They had all the fly shit. And I used to shop there when I was a kid. Like I was like, 8 up. I used to go there. At some point, my cousin Melissa, shout out to Melissa, she was working there. So I would go hang out. Not to put too much of their business out, but one of the brothers started gambling and lost all the money. Wow. And so the store was going down. And I remember I was talking to Abu. He was telling me, I'm like, yo, what's up? Was the fly shit that you be having today? He was like, oh, and kind of told me the situation. I was like, yo, what's up? Let me invest. I'm like 18. Yeah, let me invest. Let me be partners with you. He was like, yeah, what's up? So, that became my store.
Yeah.
It was my store. I invested. He would never be there. I would hire. I would fire. And that was I'm 18 running a store.
That's great.
And then
that was the first dip in fashion.
Correct.
As far as like in the business.
The business, I was always fly. I was always fly.
I've been in the business.
Been in the business of fashion. I've been selling fly shit. You know what I mean? But my block, shout out to Freeman, we was fly niggas. PBS, like what, all that. But for real though, and then I remember when he got back on his feet, he was like, look, I'm gonna give you your money back, And then that's when I was like, all right, I'm gonna take it. And then Wally's World, there was a dope barbershop over there by Lehman High School. What was the Westchester Square?
Westchester Square.
Yeah. He had the biggest, dopest barbershop. He used to cut T.S. hair, Nas, the whole what was Nas?
Okay, I know that barbershop. I've been there.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Right under the train.
Yeah.
Queensbridge was the crew, right? From Nas's crew?
Yeah,
Queensbridge. So they used to go, like, it was famous. So I spoke to him. I'm like 19, 20, and I'm negotiating a deal with him. Like, what's up? Let me rent the whole front. He's like, word, I'm gonna rent it for, I don't know, $700 a month or whatever it was. Shout out to Twinkie. Introduced me to my partner. Still to this day, my partner Biel. That's my soulmate. We've been in business. We've been in.
Shout out to Biel.
Yeah, shout out to Biel, man. We've been together. Oh my God, since then.
Yeah.
Never stopped being partners. That's literally my partner soulmate right there. You know what I mean?
No, I actually met Biel before you guys met. I knew him through high school. Like,
yeah,
we had mutual friends that they connected us through Black Books. If you know,
yeah, because he was into graffiti too.
And basically, you know, we met through there prior, so that was cool when you guys connected. It was like,
it was through Twinkie.
Yeah.
Twinkie brought him to my house because I was already living by myself. Twinkie brought him to my house, and it's crazy story because he's like, oh, this is my boy Biel. This is Fausto. He's opening up a little spot store.
At that time, white tees were in. That was the time when. So it was more like I got white tees for sale. Oh, and I got airbrush.
Well, you know? Before we got to that, that's when Twinkie brung him, right? And he's like, he does airbrush, and he was working at Banana Republic at the time.
Yeah, I remember.
Right? So we talking, and he's like, yo, I'm like, yo, I'm opening the spot. Come do airbrush. Let's partner up. Yo, he was like, yeah, I'm with it. And he quit the next day, and we just started a business. Straight like that, and just
literally, I saw that happen.
Yeah, real time.
That's how it started.
Yeah, real time. That's real time. That was real time. Yeah.
And then you know, I know you went to. I don't know if you want to mention the old brand, but I know at one point you created a brand, right? You partnered up with a few guys, and you know that was like your dream. And
yeah, so what happened was, and I'm gonna run through that quick.
Yeah.
What happened was, the shop has slowed down because a lot of our business was the people that came in, and then the high school next door. We would like sell CDs and white tees and airbrush the sneakers and airbrush tees. The mixtape era. DJ Clue coming through and dropping off, and K Slay.
Mac. Yeah, the other one though.
Shout out to K Slay. He was a big Vie Riche.
Montano used to sell his CDs.
Yeah, all that. But shout out to K Slay. He rest in peace. He was a big Vie Riche fan. He used to buy it in Tom, Dick, and Harry's in New York. Summertime came, so business slowed down, and I think I went to sell drugs again. And then Biel went to do airbrush and other places, like Dr. J's and other stuff like that. And then one day I was with my boys on the block in Freeman, and we ended up chilling with my boy Bruce. Took us to some mansion. There was his uncle's house.
The Porsche truck, I remember.
Yeah, you remember? Yo, he had 3 whips. He had the beam of the Porsche and the range.
Oof.
This guy was rich, right? Tony Shellman. He was the owner of Mecca and Inichi, right? But I didn't know this at the time. So we go to his crib. Bruce is giving us the keys to the whip. We in Dykeman, picking up girls, taking them back to the crib. So I'm in the attic, and I'm like, yo, whose crib is this? I find out it's his. I'm like, I want to meet him. He's like, you're not gonna meet him. He's not gonna, you're a kid. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna start a brand.
I remember.
I'm gonna start a brand. I still got the picture. I remember the day I was like, yo, I'm gonna start a brand. And then so by that time, I was already working at Argent Mortgage, and there was this girl named Angie there that I was cool with, and I knew that she knew how to draw. Remember, I was like, I didn't know how to draw. I can't draw your stick figure to this day. I took Photoshop and all that shit, but I still don't fuck with it. Shout out to Biel, thank you. I hit up Angie, and I'm like, yo, I want to start a brand. She's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Let's do it. We start picking out a lot of names. I remember we in the Metro North. We looking at different names and And I hit up a Biel. I'm like, yo, Biel, let's meet up. I told him the idea. He was like, I'm with it. He was working at Dr. J's. At the time, he was working with this guy named Danny, which is now a big, look how the world works. Danny is the guy. I don't know if you remember we said hip hop birthday. He just turned 50. Hip hop, right? August 11th. Nike did 50 boxes to like influencers of the music, DJ Khaled and all these people. And the box came with like sneakers and hip hop essentials and the Air Force Ones with the inside the sole. There was like this color thing, like a drawing of hip hop. Danny was the one that designed all the artwork for that box.
Danny
Perguero.
Oh, shout out to Danny. He was also one of the.
Yeah, he's part of the influence of La Vie. So anyway, he was working with him at the time. There was airbrushing, and he brings him along. I'm looking at Danny's designs like, wow, this is,
That
what the fuck? I said, nope, yep, we're doing this. We already had all the designs. We had the team. And, you know, it took us like about 2 years. We rented a space in Angie's house. She had like 3-bedroom and one of the bedrooms was empty. So I was like, yo, we're going to rent this space of her mother and we're going to come here and work. And we worked. We all had jobs, right? So we get out at 5. We'll be there by 6. We would stay there till 2 a.m. for 2 years straight. Just working and figuring out how to create a brand.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
that's the things that people don't really see, right?
Yo, that brand lasted 9 years. I'm gonna highlight what happened. Lasted 9 years. It took us 2 years to release our first brand, our first piece of clothing.
Wait, but this is the time when you guys like when it was going from retail to online. You was on MySpace with the "I Love You" t-shirt.
Yeah, that was not the first, but that was a few. That was like
the main one that got like
Nas wore that. Yeah, like you love my style.
You love my style.
You love my style, and we actually brung back because I Love New York. But I Love New York was already a thing.
Right.
So we took that concept, right? Virgil changed like that whole Virgil mind of looking at something and recreating it. So we took the I Love New York, and we said, how can we make this fire? And we turned it into You Love My Style. But the heart, we did a leather cutout of color, snakeskin. We cut it, sewed it, we stitched it, we printed You Love My Style. And people went crazy. And that rebirthed the I Love New York era of like everybody started doing it.
People started doing it after that.
Yeah. We've been innovating, man. We've been doing a lot of things. I don't think we get the props, and I'm okay with that. But we've been kind of.
We should not be okay with it.
I'm okay.
And that's why we got this type of platform
exactly.
to highlight, you know, people who's been really doing it and going through all the trials and tribulations of building a brand and building a business. And you're one of the guys who's done it. You're straight up.
I appreciate it. We've done a lot of things we've innovated a lot of things that we don't get props for, but it's cool.
Right.
It's cool. But yeah, so anyway, did that. And then that brand lasted, like I said, 9 years. We had Indian partners at some point. Cool, you know, good guys, but you know, they were stealing and things, and that kind of fell out. But I think that brand 1 year did like 1.2 million in that year. So that was my school. And that goes back to what you were saying when we was talking off camera. That was my school. Like that's when I was learning what all this means and how to make it work and kind of things. So when we split up and we all went our different ways, you know, Danny, Angie, Chris, shout out to Chris. Me and Abiel connected again and was like, yo, we can do a second brand. We don't need, it could kind of just be me and you and kind of see what happens. And that's how Vie Riche was born. And then even the name, La Vie means the life. Vie Riche means rich life.
Right.
So it was like part 2. Like it was almost like part 2. Like a continuation. The life and now the rich life. Mm-hmm. It was perfect. It was like, you know, and it just came to us. And shout out to Josh and Anthony. They believed in the vision and they backed us up. And we grew in 6 months. We was already like we sold our first trade show. It was like 200 and something thousand, 3 days. Bang! It was like, what happened?
Because they did like this digital print that was it was new in the fashion time. So they started like almost a new trend. It was trending, but it was not like large scale yet. And they went and took it and they created this concept. Like that's what like Watch the Throne and stuff started coming.
Yeah.
Like it was 2013. I went to an event and that's when I first met you. Like,
we met.
You don't remember.
Okay.
But I met you that day because it was a Vie Riche event.
Oh, dope. It
was like a fashion show in not 809 or 207.
Oh, it was Umbrella. Was it Umbrella?
I don't know.
Wait, Rick Ross was there?
No.
No?
Rick Ross wasn't there. It was another kid that wore like a lime green outfit. I still got the picture. That's the first time I saw the brand and I was like, damn, like the colors are so vibrant. I was like, yo, like this brand is really popping. And we spoke about that afterwards before we actually met again.
Dope. See how the world works? Now we work together. Well, we're working together.
But that was the first time I actually went to an event like that. And that was my first exposure to like, oh shit, someone that looks like me can actually do something like this.
That's dope. I'm glad that I can inspire. I mean, that's what I love to do. I love to inspire and to kind of motivate.
Can you speak a little on that? I know you have 2 kids.
Oh man, those are my babies. You know, I wish that my dad was an entrepreneur, right? Like when I remember my earliest memories, he was an immigrant, his first car was a Mercedes-Benz green. It was like a Hunter green, had the radio with, you know, remember the radio, Dominican's dad used to have the music. It was like this big controller. It was fire. It was cream leather interior. And I didn't know about nothing, but I knew that this was a luxury car, like Mercedes-Benz, because it was just highlighted so hard, you know. And then
everybody that was able to drive.
And my dad was fly. Like he had the Jerry curls,
late 80s.
Yeah, 80s, 90s. He had opened up a mechanic shop. He ain't know nothing about cars, but he's an entrepreneur. He went to I don't know. It was one of those mechanic shop schools and learned and opened up his first mechanic shop and then had two. And then I remember even my mother telling me that he was about to move out the hood before he died. He passed away.
How did he pass away?
He got murdered. He got murdered by one of his fake friends. Like, well, his friends or compadres or whatever you want to call it back in the days. So many stories, but jealousy, there's that. I want to get into that. But anyway, they murdered him. And in that kind of, I tell this to my kids, that resetted me. Because if my dad was going to take us to the next level where maybe I didn't have to struggle or sell drugs or certain things, once he got murdered, that resetted my whole path, right? So this is a true story. Like I remember when my baby mom's water broke. We living in my mother's house, and her water broke. It was like 5 a.m. And I was into selling drugs at the time. I had a little dope spot. I remember I wanted to go open up shop, and I sent in a cab to the hospital. And I ended up making it on time at night to see her give birth. And I was there and I watched it. I recorded it. My baby mom's give birth to my daughter. And, you know, the whole experience, they take me to the room. They put my daughter in my arms. And I remember crying and saying that was the last day I was going to sell drugs. And that was the last day. I knew that this person was so important to me at the moment. Like this person, I was like, you belong to me. I'm in charge of you. Like, I got to be responsible for you. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that no more because I knew how it affected me with my dad. So I was like, I got to be there. So that changed my life. She changed my life, my daughter. And so now even I just mentor them and I'm there for them. They're my best friends or I'm their best friends. And I pride on that.
I see that. I also saw that you got your daughter into entrepreneurship as well. So can you speak?
Yeah. I got when she turned 18, I bought her first LLC. I got it for her, made it, I explained what it means to own an LLC, to own a business, got her first bank account. And just kind of teach her these things. Like they don't teach this in high school. Yeah, nobody ever taught me either. So I'm like, let me teach you. And even there's a show on YouTube called A-Lux. And they talk about everything. Like I shout out, you should watch it. There's so many things, but to give you an example, they're like 15 ways to, I don't know, save money or whatever. Like just, it has to do with business. It's called the platform. Is literally their slogan is the platform for future billionaires.
Oh, dope. So
I've been watching these episodes with my kids since they was kids, since literally they kids, and just kind of, and as they talking about it, I'll pause and be like, did you understand what they mean? No, let me explain it to you and elaborate. And I'm embedding this since like, I'm talking about 6-7 years old. I'm embedding all these things to them. And like, do you understand what is a LLC? Do you know what's a corporation? Do you know what it is to save money? Do you know what it is? How they started? And whatever it is that they're talking about, one by one, I will break it down. Because I wish I had that. Yeah. I would have been so much further in life.
Totally.
But yeah.
Like net versus gross. I didn't know.
Yeah, I got old. Oh wow, yeah, things like that. Yeah, just net versus gross. What is gross? How do you buy a house? I remember my son one time asked me. My son is 12 years now, so he had to be like 8. He was like, Dad, like, what's the difference between owning an Airbnb and owning a real house and multifamily? And he's having these conversations with me at 8.
That's great.
Right? So I'm breaking it down like, if you do it, and I'm not going to get into that now, but yeah. And this is, I'm happy that at 8 years old, he's asking me these questions and I'm telling him about money and I'm having him count money and like, this is money and this is what you do with it. And so, yeah.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. We need more of that, right? You know what I mean? In our communities, in our households, and we got to be that now. You know what I mean?
100%.
But yeah, so other than that, when you started with Vie Riche, you made a career for yourself, and through that career, you started building all these relationships with stores, right?
Correct.
And then traveling to a whole bunch of trade shows, like in Vegas, Magic Show, where you helped to scale your brand.
Right.
I think some people don't know the nitty gritty of all that process, that you do go to store and build a relationship with these stores. You can touch on that.
Yeah, and like also the day-to-day. I don't think people understand the day-to-day of owning a brand. Like they just think that you're just
being cool, sitting back like, yeah, I own a brand. It's cool. I'm a cool guy. Nah, I mean, it didn't start with Vie Riche. It started with La Vie, because that was really like you said before, the school where I learned all this. And that's why we was able to blow up Vie Riche so fast, because we already had the school and the relationships that we built during La Vie, to make Vie Riche blow. And those things. So I remember in La Vie, our first trade show was, they gave us an opportunity in Vegas. It was Lamar and Dully. I don't know if y'all remember that brand, Lamar and Dully. And they created their own trade show. It was in Vegas. It was super dope. It was like, it was going at the same time with Agenda and all these other cool trade shows. And, it was super dope. We kind of just went, learned it. And I remember that, we had our samples, right? So the way the trade shows works is you go to a trade show, you take your samples, and stores come and visit your booth. And if they like your stuff, they put in orders. That's the nitty gritty of that. Mm-hmm. It was our first trade show. We didn't know. We wrote like $100,000 worth of orders at the time.
Significant for a brand
that didn't, yeah. And, but something happened. We told stores, I think this is like July. We told stores that the collection would be in by November. And, so that gave us 3 months to kind of like get in the orders, put in the, pay for the production, get it done, shipped from, at the time was Pakistan, get it shipped to the United States, and then ship it to stores. And that's the process of that, right? Of wholesale. And Danny at the time didn't do the corrections on the samples till like January.
On the tech.
On the samples. So when samples come in, for example, let's say there's a sample, right? Comes in and this is the print is wrong, or this is placed right in the wrong place. We'll say like, no, move this, do that, change the fabric. That's the revisions, the corrections. He didn't get to them till November. We were supposed to ship in November. He didn't get to them till November. This is July. So that messed up the whole production. The production came in January. Stores didn't want it no more, because stores in January were already taking in spring stuff. And that was winter stuff. And technically you're late.
Yeah.
If you're late, they don't, they're able to cancel. And, that's how me and Abiel, we both had jobs. So me and Abiel, would get in our cars on Sundays from morning to night. Sunday is a horrible day to do sales, by the way, because none of the owners is really in the stores, but that's the only day that we have free. We take all the samples, put in the car. We had this whole production in a
lookbook. And
No. We had the production sitting here in New York of all the clothes that we bought, right? And we would go from store to store and try to sell them the production, the clothes. And that's how we build all these relationships, so that, just to answer your question. But it was hard. It was a lot. It was hard because we wouldn't catch the owners or the buyers on Sundays. We would try to come back on certain days they was there.
Pull up with a whole rack.
Yeah, pulled up with a rack, and and they didn't know the brand, so they was like, we don't really want it, and and we had to convince them and try. And
it was like a Jay-Z story that nobody wanted to sign them, and you went and just like, myself.
We're gonna do this shit. Yeah,
we're gonna go door to door.
Yeah,
that's a story.
Yeah, so by the time we got to Vie Riche, the relationship's already built, is my point. So after that, we got into stores, and it's crazy because by that time it was so quick. We did the trade show, all the stores already knew us. We, like you said, we was doing and Noir was popping at the time, right? And they was doing like this leather pants, and they was doing like you said, like religious type vibes and
digital print.
And no, they was doing sublimation.
Dye sublimation.
But what happened with sublimation at the time, and this is how me and Abiel innovated again. Sublimation, you can only sublimate on poly, right? And people, to have it feel good, they would do poly cotton blend. So the cotton would distress and make the ink fade, so it didn't look clear. So me and Abiel went on a mission to find really good polyester, 100%.
To China, if I'm not mistaken.
No, at the time we was in LA. We went to a lot of we went to LA. We ended up going to China, but we was going to LA and New York, and we would try to find this 100% poly that felt good on the skin. And that print, when we came out, it was a neon print. It was. We went and we found all these dope fabrics that would print so vivid so that when we came out, it was the same vibe, but better. So people was like, and I think a newer t-shirts at the time was like 400, 500, like Givenchy and all those prices. So we came at like 200, 190. So we're cheaper than the competition, look better than the competition. And like I said, we sold, there was a line. Yeah. And that's how Vie Riche was born.
Yeah, man.
And talk to us about what you're wearing right now. Talk to us.
Oh, nah, yeah, you see.
That's from the last drop, right?
Nope. This is one of one. You're never gonna see this. This is me. You know what I mean? You're never gonna get this one. There's a graphic in the back. Now, to be honest, this is a sample that we do a lot of samples, right? Like we design a lot. We do a lot of design. So we sample a few things, and sometimes we approve things, sometimes we don't. The ones that we don't, we get to keep them. Get to be the one of one. But right now, our new collection just dropped. The fall collection, we call it the back to school. We did a resort theme. Right? I went with like dope pastel blues and pinks. And usually fall, it's like autumn colors, right? Especially now with like
oranges.
Yeah, the orange, the browns, and the creams.
How do you get into the creative mindset of like, all right, we got to do this next season? Where you guys start at? Like in your
every time? I mean, it's just honestly on some Virgil shit. It's like we've innovated, but we get inspired by everything we see. Right. Everything, right? So for this collection in particular, it's, for me, golf is popping right now. Like everybody's on the golf wave, right?
Yeah, it's actually
that's where the people do the biggest business.
Yo, golf is on. Like if you got money, you golfing. You're not playing ball. You're not like let's go golfing. So anyway, I don't know if it's my age. I don't know what happened, but I feel like this golf wave is in my face. So for fall, usually people's going with the autumn colors, and I was like, yo, Bill, like, or I don't know how in particular, but we was both just talking about it. And I was like, yo, let's go with some pastels. Let's put inspired by La Romana, because Romana is big with golf. Yeah. And like the whole, like, we did some sets with like, we did some sets, like golfing type vibes and like the colors. And I did it to be different in the store. So then, when you go to the stores right now and you look at a fall, you're hanging next to all these other brands and their colors is dark, whole, this type of vibe. I was like, I want to stand out. I want my fall to be like, oh, nah, because it's still warm, technically, right? Like our fall drop is in August, late August, early September. So it's still kind of warm in most places, or it's still hot in most places. So I wanted to bring that, even though it's fall, bring that to the table because our name is so strong still. We're able to still, we hold a market cap in these stores, so if that was new, they would have been like, nah, these colors don't go. But because it's Vie Riche, it's like, we'll fuck with it. We'll take a chance.
You guys had a list of influencers and celebrities wear your brand a whole bunch of times. And
nice.
Speak a little bit on those, because I think like one of the ones that I enjoyed was Allen Iverson. Like AI is always on wearing Vie Riche.
Yo, and that's one of my son's favorite player. He's a basketball head. He's like, and my son is an old school. Like he's 12. He's 12 years old, 5'11", 190, listens to Wu-Tang, listens to Jay-Z, listens to Biggie, listens to Frank Sinatra. Like he's on some, he's the old soul, like I tell him. And in basketball, like you would think he's gonna tell you LeBron is better than Jordan. Dub. He's like, Jordan is better than LeBron. Like he's an old school. So Allen Iverson is one of his favorite players. So when Allen Iverson was able to when Allen Iverson was wearing Vie Riche, and I showed him that, he went crazy. Like, oh my God. Yeah. But that's just recent. I mean, everybody's wore Vie Riche from.
He's also done it in that. I think I'm a wet commercial, which was
fire.
You have to see.
Hennessy or Moet?
Maybe Hennessy.
Yeah.
I always confuse.
Same company. Same company. Technically.
Dude, so Fausto, is there anything like that people don't know that you want to highlight, or any projects you're working on that you want to throw out in the air that you might want to mention? Just so people can know.
Yeah. In Dominican Republic, I'm opening a multimedia studio where you're gonna be able to do like podcasts and music and do photo shoots. And I'm actually doing a gaming room for gamers. Okay. So that's super cool project. It's under the Fuego Fire umbrella, which is like a music label that I started with my uncle in Dominican Republic. And then I'm also opening up, if you're familiar with Dominican Republic, in the capital, in La Venezuela, in Mr. Grill on the second floor, I'm opening up a jewelry store. Okay. So I'm a fake jeweler now. Not so fake, but a jeweler now where I'm able to do custom jewelry. I haven't said this to nobody yet. This is the first time I'm saying this, but
Thank you for
The Innovators an exclusive. Man.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I've always done it. I've always been into jewelry, and I've always designed kind of jewelry and help people with, like, they call me, hey, Father, what do you think? So I've always done it. I've always been interested. So I've always designed jewelry, but now it's like I'm actually open up a spot and be able to do it. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I'm always, we into real estate, we're into different things, and just kind of trying to leave something for my kids and their kids, and hopefully they don't mess it up.
Talk to us like where they can find the new collection and where they can find you.
Well, the new collection, the website Vie Riche, VIE-RICHE.com. We got a clearance sale right now for, some stuff that on sale. We got the new collection that just dropped.
I think should be on the
Swan. Right? It's gonna be Swan.
It's gonna come right
Superpower Fausto _ on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram.
One major thing is that Vie Riche doesn't like redrop things. So once they're out, they're out.
Oh yeah, that's the cool part about Vie Riche. Like, we'll do, I don't know, between 190 to 220 of each item. And when it's gone, it's gone. But we sell to 300 stores worldwide. Right. Japan, Canada. We in Midwest, down
West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast, Midwest, down south, Northeast, Mid Atlantic. Some stores in South America,
Carolina, Arkansas.
Yeah.
So yeah, once it's sold out, we get a whole bunch when people tell us like, "Oh, you're gonna redrop this dub." So if you missed it, you missed it.
Perfect. Well, there you go. We got another segment on the Innovators. Then we got Fausto Montano. Pleasure having you.
Yeah. Appreciate being here. Yeah, come on, man.
Us. And we got formerly known as #Danny Silverio.
Formerly known.
And you got me stable business. At the Innovators. And
make sure you follow us, subscribe, like, share. Appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, check it out.
Brother.